Hey there, everyone. Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all are joining us globally. I am Partharu, Events and Program Manager for Microsoft Reactor Bangalore. And yes, I welcome you all to yet another episode of Copilot Chronicles. But before we start our today's session, let's go through our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, participate together. So please be respectful of other people's views, understanding their differences, be kind and considerate in a way we all engage. Yes, we do encourage you all to participate. Please drop all your questions in the chat section. I would now like to bring in Kamal Shri, who is the event host for Copilot Chronicles, and she's also a developer advocate from M365. Hey,
Hi,
hi Kamal, how are you doing?
all good. How are you?
I am all good. Liking Bangalore. Bangalore is perfectly Bangaloring these days. Yeah.
Indeed, heavy rainfalls and yeah, just loving the weather. But how
Yep.
are things post build settling down?
Post bills, yep, things has been settling down. The lot of activities been in program in channelized in pipeline to come
Oh,
up and most probably to be lined up by July and August at
awesome.
reactors web pages. Yep. So yes, Kamal, we are at another episode of Copilot Chronicles. We are unlocking Gen AI. That's
Yes,
innovative approaches to implementation.
indeed.
Uh, yep.
Today we're going to see some like fascinating world of Gen AI model and their implementation with cloud or it could be non-premises environment. So without further ado, I think we can bring Dr. Boma.
Yep.
Um,
We have Dr. Boma on stage. I think
uh,
Dr. Boma, you're in mute.
Right. Sorry for that. So hi Pat and hi Kamal. How are you?
all
We
good,
all
Boma.
great.
Yeah, so without further ado, Burma just wanted to give you a quick introduction. She's a Gen AI expert and a manager for data and AI at Avanet and Malaysia. She's a seasoned technologist with over a decade of experience. And not to mention, she's being awarded as the Young Woman Scientist by uh, Hume Sen, an outstanding researcher academician by the Women Icon. So we are really glad to have you, Boma, and we also would like to see what you can talk us or evaluate the pros and cons of the cloud on-premises implementations, or whether it could be the Gen AI models, or what kind of guidance or practical knowledge that we need to have our own AI implementation strategies, or even for the least part to understand and how to leverage this Gen AI model to grow your business or drive your business. We would definitely love to know more from your end. So the stage is all yours. So go ahead. Looking forward to your session.
Floor is
Yeah.
all yours, Dr. Boma. Yep.
Thanks. Thanks for that.
We will be
Uh,
at the backstage. You can ping us if you need anything.
yeah, sure. And hope my screen is visible.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Right. All good. So yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Right. So coming to Gen AI, recent days we are hearing a lot about Gen AI, right? And continuously trying to enlighten us about the fascinating world of generative AI, or Gen AI as we fondly call it as. So for those who are in this stage, meaning that those who have already heard a lot about Gen AI, what I highlighted now, you might be definitely be wondering what more is there to discuss about Gen AI, or what more is there to discuss about artificial intelligence, right? So here, splendidly, I'm here to take you on a journey that goes beyond the surface, I could say, or beyond the usual discussion and um, it's very interactive informations I'm planning to share in this session. So my talk today is titled as Unlocking GenAI Innovative Approaches to Implementation. So I would say here, it's a quite a handful, but it's a we could say it's a handful because it's packed with more and more of insights. We are not only going to deal with the cloud part, uh, we are also going to explore about how GenAI can be useful in terms of on-prem implementation. So we are not just going to skim the surface of generative AI. We are going to dive deep, explore its nooks and crannies, and emerge with a holistic understanding of this revolutionary technology, right? So that is what the AI is. So yeah, I think you heard about me. If you would like to connect with me, you can just scan the code to connect with me in LinkedIn. And let me just move into the agenda. Now, so we will be venturing into the workflow of generative AI in our today's session, and dissecting models like GPT 3.5, GPT-J, and Llama 2 as well. So, what it is doing, how it is, how it is playing its role in cloud implementation as well as in on-prem implementation, and followed by that, we'll be delving into the nitty-gritty technical aspects where we will be um, hearing about how to implement um, on-prem parts in a technical aspects, like what hardware requirements or necessary to go ahead with the on-prem implementation. So that often get overlooked, right, when we are coming to on-prem. So let us discuss that part especially today. And we are not stopping at cloud implementation, as I said earlier. So we will be going deep into on-prem implementation. I could say that we are going to break down the walls and bring the discussion to our backyard, our own backyards with on-prem implementation. So let's navigate this landscape together and see what lies beyond, right? And all the speakers follow a traditional way. Though we have heard a lot about GenAI, the traditional way is to first start with what is GenAI and where it is coming from, how it started, right? So let me also follow the traditional way. Just don't would like to skip from the introduction to GenAI. So let me start here and see how well it goes. So let's start by understanding what generative AI or Gen AI really is, right? So, in the simplest terms, Gen AI is a subset of artificial intelligence. We might have heard that. So that focus on something, generating new things. So that is why it is called as a generative AI. So previously, if something was unseen, some information it is hidden. Generative AI that is having a capability to bring the hidden object or hidden content into light, and that's why it has been named as generative AI. So this could be anything from a piece of music, or I could say a poem, or a piece of art, or even a scientific hypothesis. So it's like giving a creative mind to a machine, because generative AI is just a machine, right? So what we could say is it we are just giving a creative mind to it. That's it. But why is all the time, for few of us it will be buzzing in our mind in the initial state. When I started exploring generative AI, this is the question was buzzing me very often, like why generative AI is important, why should we care more about generative AI, right? So what the answer I got, and I realized it, the answer lies in its vast array of application, what it could handle, and what it how it could handle. So that is where the Gen AI is not just about creating art or writing poem. It's much more than that. So that's the reason why it is very important, and that's the reason for what it is getting cared by us more. It's about creating personalized learning experience. Let's say in education, it could help us in a personalized way to learn based on our skill set, or generating real time content in entertainment, aiding in scientific research, or even helping in medical diagnosis, right? By generating some accurate predictive models. So that is quite interesting about generative AI, right? So to more about, or to understand more with an example, right? Just imagine a world where each student has a personalized tutor. Could be really helpful for each and every student if they have a personalized personalized tutor who could understand the students skill set, the strength and weakness, and guide them accordingly, right? So that is one interesting thing. And coming to the part of entertainment, where entertainment is tailored to your preferences, where scientists can generate and test hypotheses in a second. That is not quite easy as a human, right? So when Gen AI is helping us to do all these things, obviously we should take care of it. Obviously, it is important and we should take care of it. And even in the medical field, doctor can now diagnose diseases even before the symptoms appear. That is a beauty, right? That's the power of Gen AI. That's the world we are stepping into, or I could say we have already stepped into that world, right? We are just not talking about a technology. We are talking about a tool that has a potential to transform our world. That is what I feel generative AI is, and that is why I feel it is important, and that is why mainly I feel we should take care of generative AI to handle not only the information which I have shared with you now. There's something beyond that also, and let us just explore in this discussion as well, right? So that is all about Gen AI, where it is coming from and why it is important. So let me take you to the exploring Gen AI models. Right, we will start by understanding the broad categories of models used in generative AI. So before that, I would also like to highlight here we have multiple models in generative AI. So in this discussion, I will be discussing about major types, like two types. One is a large language model, LLM, supposedly called as, and small language models, SLMs, right? If you are very new to this generative AI talk or feel, you might not be heard a lot about SLMs, but you're very often you would have heard about LLMs. So let us just discuss what is LLM and SLM, why it is here in Gen AI, right? So imagine, to explain you in a better way, in an easier way to make it feel good. Let me go with an example, right? Imagine you're planning a trip, right? If you're going to a new country and want to explore as much as possible, so basically what we will be doing is we will try to hire a tour guide who knows the entire country well, because I'm planning to visit a new country, right? So I will be looking for the guide who know about the country in a full landscape. So this particular guide can take me to a variety of places, from popular tourist spot to hidden gems. So this is like using a large language model. Okay, just assume this is like using a large language model. It is versatile and can handle wide range of tasks because it's been trained on a vast amount of data. That is why I'm just comparing LLM with a trip to a new country. Okay. Now let us go to SLM with another example, another similar example, right? On the other hand, if you are interested in specific city or region, right, there you might prefer a local guide who specializes in that particular area. So this guide might not know much about the rest of the country or rest of the city. He might be with a very small circle knowledge about that particular city or that particular region, but they can give you an in-depth tour of an area you're interested in, right? So this is something similar like a small language model, I could say. It's specialized and excels in specific tasks because it's been trained on more focused area. It is not trained with a broader area. It is just focused with only small circle data. And one popular model in SLM is very familiar now to us, by three models, right? So including the mini, which has 3.8 billion parameters in this language model holds, which are known for their exceptional performance across the variety of languages, reasoning, coding, and coming to math. It's a really a splendid benchmark. So they outperforms the model of small size, and even those of the next size up, right? So and yeah, followed by this SLM and LLM. Now you might be wondering what model I should use. I should rather go for LLM or SLM, right? Answer from my end should be like it depends on your specific use case. If your business is looking for a versatile AI solution, then handle a wide range of tasks, you might definitely opt for LLM, much like hiring a countrywide tour guide. But if you need a AI solution for specific task or a small domain, right, then you should probably go to SLM part. Could be a better choice. SLM could be a better choice, just like opting a local guide for a focused tour, right? If you're looking for another in another additional term, if you're looking for high quality text generation, then go for LLMs. So I could say GPT 3.5 or GPT-J. You'd have heard about GPT-J as well. So might be your best bet here. If you are working on a task that involves understanding relationship between entities, you know comparison, classification, or something like that, filtering part, then you could probably opt llama 2 model, which is also in LLM part. But llama 2 model has three options, three versions of it. So one, the smaller version, that that is parked under SLM. The rest of the two models of llama 2 parked under LLM. So when you're just looking for the use case, if you're looking for the relationship between the entities, then you could opt llama 2. That could the better way to go with your use cases. And one thing what we should remember is there is no one size fits for all solution in GenAI. The best model for you, it completely depends on your specific needs and constraint. That is what always we should keep in our thoughts when we are picking up the GenAI models, right? Yeah. So this is what I would like to share about LLM and SLM. And you could see here the multiple models which I have presented here. GPT 3.5, which is splendidly helpful in text to text generation, and we have DALI 3 helping us in most of the text to image conversion, and we have embedding llama 2 now recently. GPT-4 and GPT-4o is taking all the shows towards it. So these are all not the you know complete set of GenAI model.
Great.
It's just
Uh,
uh,
yes, sorry to interrupt in between, Dr. Uma. I was guessing like we see the screen to be freezed. Are you
Mhm.
changing the slides alongside?
Is it in exploring GenAI models?
It's still in the first slide where you have your Kamal and yours this thing. Are you
Oh,
changing the
I'm
slide?
just yeah, I'm changing my screen. Let
Yeah,
me
yeah.
just put once again in the presentation mode. How about now?
Yes, yes, yes. Now we can see your slides, but you need to change the slides. You need to keep
How about
changing, yeah, manually.
yeah? Mhm. Is it visible now? I'm
Yep,
just changing.
yep.
Now I'm in the navigating the AI landscape.
Great. Yeah, yep, yep.
Right.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry for that. Great. Let me continue here. So previously, just give me let me give the glimpse about. I have not shared much The first slide is all about the agenda, and then I spoke about the AI landscape. And then I am now in the exploring GenAI models where I showcased various model, but this is not the limited portion of the GenAI models. We do have plenty of models under GenAI. So now I'm in the slide of using your data. So what I was telling is when we are trying to pick the model, it might be LLM or SLM, we should remember that there is no one size fits for all solution in GenAI. It completely depends on your specific needs and your constraint, right? And moving to the next part, what we should consider and what we should remember that is when we are using our own data, right? What happens? What are all the consequences or what are all the challenges we might face? The first challenge is it is going to be the tokenization, the tokens, like the number of words or number of sentence or number of characters. It always going to be our challenges, and we should be mindful about handling this token. And this challenge, particular challenge, can we can overcome by using some specific or effective databases, right? So one database, what I could say, is vector database. So why it is very specific and why I'm highlighting this database could resolve this tokenization issue. And one more thing is, it is not going to um, resolve 100%, but comparatively when we are using this database, it could handle maximum amount of challenges what we are facing in terms of tokens, right? So it has many features, inbuilt features inside to handle this tokenization, right? So yeah, next slide. Pat, can you just have this in a slide mode, please? Is it in slide mode? The presentation mode?
Yes, it's in the presentation mode.
Oh, okay. Right. Right. So before moving in depth into our on-prem and cloud implementation, its pros and cons, what I would like to ask you is, do we really think artificial intelligence is intelligent? Right. Most of us, we will be thinking like, yes, artificial intelligence is predominantly it is playing its role in 100% perfect way, and it is definitely it is intelligent. That is what like most of us will be believing, but that is not the truth, and that is the reason why I have included this particular content in our discussion, to make it very clear and give some thoughts about artificial intelligence. You can see what I have done is I have given two different prompts to artificial intelligence, right? The application. So the first one is professor walking on a snowy morning with bright sunshine. So according to AI's intelligence, it it is thinking professor is someone who looks like with a long coat, and how it is, right? And you can see a professor, someone walking, and it is like a snowy morning. You can see sunshine, everything. It is pretty clear and good from our prompt. This is the first prompt response I got it from AI. And you can see the second prompt I gave: kid carrying eggs and dropping eggs on a hard, rocky place. What we can see there is, you can see a kid, the kid, okay, carrying eggs, and the kid dropped all his eggs on a hardy, rocky place. Obviously, what will happen when we drop an egg on a hard rock place, right? Even on a smoother place, sometimes it will break. But you can see what intelligent artificial intelligence have created, because I have never mentioned, nowhere you can see break or broken in my prompt. So based on its understanding, artificial intelligence just gave me the image as it is based on the prompt. And you can see if we are a human, if this prompt was read by the human, obviously we know what happened to the egg which falls on a hardy rocky surface. It will break definitely. That is what I'm coming to tell here is that is what is artificial intelligence is. It is not 100% perfect. It is completely based on the creative mind what we gave to the machine. It doesn't have the capacity to think in a creative way or think in a realistic way. It will just act according to our instruction. That's it. So we are hearing that AI is gonna take over our jobs, or we will be jobless very soon, and we have to, you know, climb the rope as fast as possible. And so this is what we are hearing, right? Nothing to worry about it. It is not going to take our job, definitely. It's because always artificial intelligence needs human validation, human intervention, to human in loop to perform, to complete the process. So it is not going to 100% take over our job and do it. Why? Because other than this intelligent and creativity, right? I would like to highlight three, um, three main factors what human has and what artificial intelligence is failing to adopt to those three. The first one is empathy. It is very hard to to teach or to preach artificial intelligence what is empathy is. And the next thing is leadership quality. Leadership quality is where someone who can understand the situation and act accordingly in a realistic way. That is not happening with artificial intelligence. Even you can see for the simple prompt, it couldn't able to react according to the situation. So definitely it is not a good fit to take over the leadership quality skills. And next one is obviously the creativity. It is not having any creative sense. Still, many researchers are going on, and they are continuously failing to preach and teach artificial intelligence what is empathy and how to be a good leader, and how to be very creative in a realistic way. But that is not happening, right? So this is nothing to worry much about our jobs. But what we should do in a either side is learn what is artificial intelligence, what is going on, learn the technologies, and there you try to climb the rope in the path where AI is going on, right? So now let me circle back to our large language model discussion. Pat, can you please move to the next slide? Thanks. So yeah, let me circle back to LLM here, as we like to call it as LLM, right? But it is a large language model. And what here you should know, integrating these large language model, big guys, with your own data can be a bit head scratcher when you're crafting your own data with a new AI tool. But you guess what? That's this beautiful approach called as RAG. It's called as retrieval augmented generation. Sounds cool, right? So with this approach, RAG, LLM really playing and doing its job in a better way, I could say. And you can see the workflow. It is pretty clear for us what is happening in the front end and back end, right? There's where just imagine any online application or your WhatsApp, whatever it is. We'll be looking into the front end, the UI, the beautiful front end. That is what visible to us. To make it clear, what is happening in the back end, how WhatsApp is receiving the message and sending the text to the other end of the user. So there where the backend API server is playing here. And you can see I just gave a few branches from the backend API server to make us clear. that it is having the feature added into the backend API server, the one with LLM model. And the next could be business logic, because business logic, it varies for use cases to use cases or domain to domain. So there might be business logics and many more features. So this is a very high level workflow to give us a glimpse about how this Gen AI is working on. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the end-to-end workflow to make us clear what is this is all about, right? So first, assume that you're having your bunch of document with you. It might be PDF files or PowerPoint slides or audio file, video file, or even a structured table formats, whatever, right? Or combination of all. Assume that you're having a document with you. What this GenAI, recommended or suggested flow is, go with document chunking. So what does this document chunking mean is, as I said in my previous slide, right? The first challenge what we will be facing is tokens. So this token can be handled by chunking our model and placing all the chunked model into the vector database, right? We are not going to place the complete raw data into the vector database. We have to, the better practice is to chunk your model, split your model into multiple. For example, if you're having one PDF file with 50 pages, try to chunk the PDF file either as a page or as a paragraph. Let's go for page wise chunking, right? So take one PDF file with 50 pages, chunk it into page wise manner, then it will be 50 individual PDF files, 50 chunk of PDF file now you are having. And it varies based on, again, it depends on completely your use case and the scope or requirements of your use cases again. So you can go with paragraph chunking or sentence wise chunking. It purely depends on the requirement. So once we get the raw data, we will be proceeding with the document chunking. And you can see the next process as LLM embedding. Embedding is a very beautiful process, helping LLM model, OpenAI model, to understand and react accordingly. So what is this embedding is? Embedding, again, is a process to convert your data into some numerical values, which is easily understandable for the machines, right? I could say, I could just place it in that way. It is easily understandable to the machines. So this embedding model, when we are chunking the document, for each chunk, it will give some numerical values. And after converting the data into embedding, what we have to proceed is, we should proceed to the vector database to place all the embedded data. And you can see the process again. Vector database is also getting some input from the user end. So what, as a user, we will be doing is, we will be shooting some question to the GenAI model or to the application. So if I'm asking some question to the GenAI model or application, what it is doing, you can see in the feature, it is extracting the question from user, converting again the text into embedding. That is the easier process, because my vector database now, it is holding some embedding value. When I'm passing user question directly as a text, it is not a good practice, and the LLM model or a vector database, it couldn't able to recognize what it is receiving. So better practice is to, again, convert the user query into embedding. Now, when we convert the user query again into some values, it will be ingested into the vector database. And why we are ingesting vector database? To understand between the input and the user input, actual our data and the user input. So what the feature vector database is having is, it is having its own similarity search or semantic search inside it. So this kind of search, it will help to extract most or closely relevant information. Just for example, if I'm the user and I'm shooting out the question, what is OpenAI model is? If this is my question, and my application is holding a bunch of information about GenAI, OpenAI models, and so many stuff about it, right? So if this is it, obviously my vector database will be holding information about OpenAI models also, because my question is what is OpenAI model is, right? So now during this LLM embedding from user side, it will convert and it holds some value. When it goes to the vector database, it will try to find two similar values, fetch it back to the document chunk. You can see the bottom line from the vector database. It is again moving to the document chunk. And finally, it will be given to the prompt plus LLM model. So what does it mean here is we are controlling our OpenAI model with the help of prompt. We are trying to instruct the LLM model what it should do, what it shouldn't do, and how to avoid the hallucinated result. Everything we will be controlling over the prompt. So that is what it is going. The LLM model is going along with the prompt. So with all the information, it will move back again to the user with appropriate response. So this is what the end-to-end workflow of GenAI is. It is it is common to most of the GenAI process. Nothing is going to change until unless you have some specific requirements like fetch the data from a website, or fetch the data from some particular uh, data source or database link. Until unless it is going to be the same, this end-to-end workflow is going to be the same for all GenAI, right? So now, uh, once after this is like, I would like to highlight here, this is completely matched with on-prem implementation. Let me also just give you a glimpse about how does cloud implementation look like in the next slide. So this is, you just assume this is a uh, the previous slide is all about on-prem, and you can see how the cloud implementation in our Microsoft Azure platform looks like. So here app UX is nothing but the users will be there fetching the beautiful UI, beautiful front end from their side, and they'll be shooting out the question through the application and will receive the response from the application as well, right? So yeah, that's it. And you can see the next part is app server, which holds all the backend operations here. And you can see the backend operation, it goes to one part, it is going to Azure AI search, where it is handling all the queries. So Azure AI search, it holds the embedding process. So after performing the embedding, you can see app server is coming back to prompt plus the OpenAI model. You can see this is like more or less similar, but it varies based on what type of implementation we are picking. And so, yeah, that's just a glimpse about how cloud implementation looks like, and on-prem implementation. I have shared in detail about end-to-end, how does it go well, right? Let's move on to the next slide to understand cloud versus on-prem features, right? Okay. So, when we are talking more about cloud versus on-prem, now let's shift our focus to the implementation side of GenAI. One of the key decision you will face when implementing GenAI solution is whether to go for cloud implementation or on-prem solution. Each has its own set of pros and cons. The choice again, it largely depends on your specific needs and constraint. When we talk about cloud implementation, I could say cloud implementation, they are hosted on the vendor server and accessed through the internet, like how Microsoft Azure platform, we can host in Microsoft server, and we can access all the services and the process through the internet. So they offer several advantages. I could just classify it. Firstly, they provide scalability. You can easily adjust the usage based on your needs. And next, I could say they eliminate the need for upfront capital expenditure on hardware. There's not much in investing on the hardware part. And thirdly, I could say they ensure always you're in an updated version, you're in the updated features, you're using the updated services, right? It will make sure when we are in a cloud implementation. And however, cloud implementation also have some drawbacks. They require a reliable internet connection, and they can be ongoing cost of usage. Also, depending on the provider, you might have less control over your data. Again, it is in cloud. It is not in your own own server. It is in the cloud server, so you will not have much control over your data. So that is in a cloud implementation. And when you're deciding to go with cloud implementation, you need to think about all these things. And coming to on-prem implementation, these are hosted on your own servers, right? So they offer greater control over your data because it is in your own server. Obviously, you will have all control over your data and also the system, and they can be more suitable for our organizations or to specific organization who are having very strict data security and some privacy requirements. So this on-prem implementation is well suitable for such kind of organizations, right? And coming to its disadvantages, right? So they also come up with higher upfront cost for hardware. But that is not the case in cloud implementation. Everything is inbuilt and pre-built. So we will not usually look for the hardware. Hardware, what I'm talking about is the size of GPU, size of CPU, and the operating system. So many things, the memory size to hold the data, memory size to hold the model, everything is an upfront cost for hardware. And when we are purchasing the hardware, there will obviously is going to be the setup cost as well. And they require ongoing maintenance then and there. Plus, additionally, there will be a scaling up can be more challenging and costlier as well. So these are all we have to consider when we are planning to go for on-prem implementation. So as I said, they have their own set of pros and cons. So it is not, uh, it is not like cloud implementation is 100% easier and good to use, and it is not like on-prem is 100% easier and good to use. It's not like that. So when choosing between these two, consider factors such as your budget, the data security requirements, and then the reliability of the internet. Finally, need for control over your system. That is in the highest priority for us, right? So coming to this Hugging Face, why I have included this Hugging Face deck, right? If you are considering an on-prem implementation, if you are going for a cloud implementation, as I said, everything is inbuilt inside the cloud platform. If you are looking for specific services to deploy the UI, we will be having inside our cloud implementation. And if you are looking for some ML model, it will be available. If you're looking for OpenAI model, yeah, obviously it will be available. Everything is it's like uh, everything under one umbrella. That's how I could say. But if you're considering an on-prem implementation, you might be wondering, where can I get these AI models, right? So this is where platforms like Hugging Face come into play. This Hugging Face is a leading platform that usually provides a vast repository of pre-trained models, including both LLM and SLM. You can easily download a model of your choice and implement it on your own server. Because everything is, it's open source thing. So this allows you to have full control over your data and the system, which can be crucial for organization, as I said earlier, with strict data security and privacy requirements. Most of the financial sector, the banking side, right, they will be very concerned about placing their data in cloud. So such kind of organization, mostly they will opt for on-prem implementation despite of the costing, right? So to implementing a model from Hugging Face, which involves few steps. I'll show it in my next slide. What are all the steps available? So first, Pat, next slide, please. Yeah, thanks. So we have a few steps involved in it. First, you need to choose the model. If you are looking for GPT 3.5 or GPT 3.5 turbo model or GPT-4 model, first and foremost thing is choose the model suitable for your use case from this Hugging Face repository. Then you can use the transformer library, which is available, which again it is available in Hugging Face. Okay, so we have to download the transformer library, and we have to load the model into our own server. Once the model got loaded, you can use it to generate the prediction phases. So you can see some focused parameters when you're applying the transformer, right? When you're downloading the transformer and loading the transformer, I have given you some high level of API parameters I have mentioned here. So this is something, yeah. So you have to focus on when you are loading the model, focus on the temperature, which plays a crucial role when you are using OpenAI model, right? So temperature range from 0 to 1. You can set between 0 and 1 to make the consistency in the response of OpenAI model. You can play around with the temperature value, and you can play around with the max new token. So max new token is like how many amount of token you're expecting as a response. So there where you have own control, right? And this control is also in cloud models. I'm not saying this control is not in the cloud OpenAI models. Yes, it's available. Just I'm showcasing how you can implement your open source model using the Hugging Face transformer libraries. And then you can go with the focus of return full text, early stopping process, do sample. So these are all some highlighted API parameters for us to focus on to increase the accuracy, latency of your OpenAI model in case of the response fetching and generation part, right? So in my next slide, I have also given like how we can deal with the technical aspects. So now I have given you a glimpse about what is this on-prem implementation, and where we can get this open source on-prem models, how we can utilize it, and which parameter we have to focus on. So in my next slide, I'll be just giving you the glimpse about how we can make a better use of this open source model, right? So you have an optional kind of thing called as quantization. Why? Because model is not something which run without memory. Each and every OpenAI model, it has its own um, capacity, the space it occupies, the space in the memory. So it depends on the hardware what we are using. If you are not using appropriate model, appropriate memory according to the model, then we need to pick this quantization model. So this quantization is nothing but compressing the actual model size into some limit. Let's say like Llama 2 7B model, this occupies nearly 14 GB. But when I apply this quantization technique, it will compress the Llama 2 7B model from 14 GB into like something like 4 GB. So that is the beauty of quantization. So when I'm when I'm not having enough capacity, but I'm really interested in exploring the OpenAI model in my own server or in my own laptop on prem implementation, then I could go for this quantization. But yeah, the we have some disadvantages as well in quantization, because quantization is good in compressing the model. When it is compressing, what does it mean is it is trying to hide or mask few of the parameters, because this each and every model, it holds billions of parameters. When we are compressing the model, obviously we are compressing the parameter usage also. So coming to the part of quantization and looking for the better accuracy, we are not going to get it. But in the case of just experimenting and feeling the essence of OpenAI model in on-prem with a limited server, right? We can go for quantization and just look the beauty of the response, how well it is, right? So that is all about quantization. And in my next slide, I have also given some glimpse about Llama 2 models and the hardware specs. Yeah. So starting with the Llama 2 model, so you can see in the right hand side which GPU is suitable for this particular model. We are having many GPUs, but here I will recommend NVIDIA GPU if we are using Llama 2 model. It's because Llama 2 model, when it comes to AMD GPUs, right, it is not having some of the capabilities to meet the requirements of Llama 2. So why I'm stating here is, when we are picking the model in on-prem implementation, we should also be very concerned about what type of GPU has to be there in the role. If not, again, it will be like quite challenging for us to overcome all the setup to achieve the expected results, right? So when we are let's just looking into Llama 2 model, as I said, we have multiple varieties of Llama 2 model, three types. One is 7B, that's a smaller model, which comes under SLM because it's only holds the 14 GB and it occupies only 14 GB space in our GPU. Coming to 13B, it has been trained with 13 billion parameters, and again, the model size increases based on the parameters, right? So it is 25 GB, and if you are actually looking for very good accuracy with a faster response, then we have to opt for the highest model, that is 17B model, and you can see the model size, 18 GB. The size of the model itself is 18 GB, and just assume that what is the size it will consume when we are loading the model and trying to utilize the model when we are into the process of fetching the response, right? So it is not going to occupy only 80 GB. That is what I'm trying to point out here. If the model size is 14 GB, it is not like it is going to occupy only 14 GB in our GPU. It occupies 14 GB while loading. But every time when we are triggering the model to do some process, it will utilize few few more GBs. So we have to be very concerned about these practices when we are picking for on-prem implementation. And my next slide, I will show you what are all the terms we have to focus on. So hardware spec I have given here. Just for example, assume that your server is utilizing LLM model. Let me go with the same flow, Llama model, Llama 2 with 13B. If this is our purpose, you can see the specification what I have given for CPU. So CPU, I'll be looking for 10 core with no doubt. GPU, I'm looking for single 64 GB high-end GPU, preferably NVIDIA, if it is Llama 2. If it is GPT-4 or GPT 3.5, yeah, AMD GPU is suitable, right? H100, you can go for NVIDIA H100 or A100, right? H100 is now the high-end GPU model to it's well suitable for even the 70B Llama 2 model. And you can see the memory capacity, what I'm looking for. It is 128 GB, and the OS is with sufficient of 1 terabyte. Again, the data storage completely depends on the data, uh, amount of data you are planning to load. An operating system, obviously, it's Ubuntu, right? And you can see the variation in 13B and 17B hardware specification, right? CPU is going to be the same, but coming to GPU, I have increased the size because 70B size is coming around 80 GB, right? And as I said, it is not sufficient for me to have just 80 GB or 90 GB. I have to go beyond that, because I'm not only going to load, I'm going to utilize the model then and there. Whenever the user is shooting up a question, I will trigger the OpenAI model to do the process. So it occupies few additional space, and it is always highly recommended to go with a high-end GPU with 160 GB. The rest all are gonna be the same. But what we are concerned about is the GPU sizing, right? Yeah. So, and we should also look for, when we are looking into the data storage, right? We have an option of elastic search. You could opt the elastic search, as the name resembles. Elastic search, you can hold as much as data into elastic search. It will extend based on the capacity of uh, the volume of the data what we are feeding inside it. It completely depends. Okay, you can opt for it. Moreover, elasticsearch provides tools like cross cluster search and cross cluster replication, which is called as CCS and CCR, that allow you to search and replicate data between elasticsearch clusters across any deployment pathways. So this means that you can have an Elasticsearch cluster on-prem and another one in the cloud. So it's like a hybrid model. You can search and replicate data between them, between cloud and on-prem. If this is not only the case on-prem, but you would like to go for hybrid implementation also, Elasticsearch is suitable for hybrid model as well, hybrid implementation process as well, right? Um, yeah. Let me move on to the next slide to showcase on-prem, like pros and cons of on-prem, right? I spoke a lot about our GPU resources. We have to be very concerned about the capacity of our GPU sizing, the scalability, maintenance overhead, the response time purely depends on how well we are placing the model and where we are placing the model. If I'm utilizing a bigger model and just giving it a very small amount of GPU, then it is going to affect my accuracy. It is going to affect my response time. Sometimes it might lead me to, uh, the give up with the irrelevant response, or sometimes it will crash the system when I'm not providing my OpenAI model with a sufficient GPU. So it is going to affect the response time. The flexibility matters a lot. The infrastructure cost, obviously it is higher in on-prem compared to the cloud, because everything in cloud is inbuilt, right? And optimized hardware config, you need to be very focused on it, concerned about your operational focus. So we have like equal pros and cons, and these are all the consideration I would like to highlight here, right? So yeah, as we near the end of our journey, right, through the landscape of GenAI, and how we can explore the on-prem and cloud implementation, let's just take a moment to look beyond what we have discussed in our previous slides. In the next slide, yeah, that's basically a key takeaway. So here you can see the field of Gen AI is rapidly evolving, right? So with the new models and techniques, I could say. So we are seeing trends towards more efficient models like the SLMs, we discussed earlier, as well as trends towards more responsible and ethical AI practices. We are not stopping with just implementing it. We are also looking how responsible it is, how responsible the AI is, how ethical uh, AI practices are. So there's also a growing interest in hybrid models, as I just discussed about the hybrid implementation, right? Where we can keep all our data in our own premises, and the rest of the process, rest of the embedding, rest of the chunking process, everything will happen in cloud. Okay, it doesn't matter it's a complete on-prem or cloud. It could be hybrid model also that combine the strengths of different type of model to achieve superior performance, I could say here. And however, with these advancements, it comes new challenges as GenAI model become more powerful and widespread. Issues around the data privacy, obviously, it's in a high priority, and this is considered as a complex as well, right? Coming to the data privacy, security, and ethical use of AI are becoming increasingly important, right? Ensuring that these models are used responsibly and ethically is another major challenge that we as as a community, we need to address this. That is what I would like to say here. So when we talk about cloud implementation or on-prem implementation, hybrid implementation, in our conclusion, all what we should remember, one thing is the landscape of GenAI is vast, filled with exciting opportunities and challenges. So as we navigate this landscape, let's remember to keep a open mind to learn from each to learn from each other, and to always strive for progress. So that's the thing. So completely, it is not only about the type of implementation we are looking into. It's all about how open minded we are to learn about the technologies, how open minded we are to understand our requirement for picking up the appropriate implementation. So it all depends on that, right? So yeah, with this, I'm just ending up my presentation, and thank you all for joining me with me on this journey. I hope you found it informative and inspiring, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, now I'd be happy to answer any question you might have. Let me open the floor for Q&A sessions.
Sure. Before that, Dr. Boma, thank you so much for your session. I think definitely I got to know a lot of things about the models, which in general, I thought, okay, in the behind the screen, okay, there is something happening and we're getting the output. But you kind of went one layer in depth to let us know exactly which model to go for, and what are the limitations, which is the focus area based on it, whether you go for the cloud or on premises implementation. So that was definitely a good insight about it. So we do have questions. So the first one we have from Mahesh. We have multiple questions from him asking, we select model based on needs, which is okay, but how to choose from vast number of models available? Like basically his question is like how to identify the model name and what are they capable of? So just a combined question.
Right. That's a great question, right? As a AI developer or Gen AI engineer, everybody will get this question. That's perfectly a very good question. When coming to the model selection, first we should be clear about what is the requirement. So if the requirement, let's say, let us just go with the Gen AI part chatbot, right? If it is looking for only text to text generation, then pick the model which is suitable to get the text as input and provide text as output. Obviously, it's GPT 3.5, right? Text to text generation. And if I'm just looking for speech to text conversion kind of chatting process, right? Then I could go for whisper kind of preview models. So that will really help me to come up with a precise response. So yeah, the response is purely depends on what requirement we have with us.
Oh,
So that is how we can select the model. We have various options: text to text, text to image, image to text, text to video,
mhm.
voice, speech to text. First,
Okay,
figure out this and then pick the model.
all right. So I think Mahesh, your question is answered. Okay. All right. On the same question, I have one. Say, for example, if I have to analyze a particular format of data, or maybe it could be an invoice which has like completely um, unstructured data because it has number, address, items, images, quantity, price. So it's all completely unstructured, right? So how do I choose a model in this scenario? Just to give a very hypothetical situation, what would you suggest, and on what basis would you go for a model, or is it like multiple models that I have to choose?
Yeah, that's again another beautiful thing about GenAI. It could handle all kind of data. Like as you said, the scanned data with some text inside it. And when I'm looking to extract the text from the scanned image, it is not easy for the normal model.
Mm-hmm.
I could say it's not easy for a normal machine learning model, right? But what we could do here in our initial process, the processing of the data, there is a process called as OCR. So OCR process will help us to identify specific content from the data, what we are looking for. Even though a single file is holding multiple format inside it, OCR, when we are applying OCR model, it could extract the data for me. And then what we could do, as I have showcased the high level workflow, we can go ahead with the embedding process after applying the OCR model. Then process everything is going to be the same. That is for the case of on-prem implementation. But the beauty with the cloud, let's say, let's consider Microsoft Azure platform, right? We have AI intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
document intelligent with us.
Mm-hmm.
Previously, it is called as form recognizer. So we can use that AI search capacity to handle the basic raw data, extract the content from various format, and then proceed with the OpenAI model.
All right. Definitely a space to dive deep into it to see how this really works and the beauty of it. So yeah. So on the same basis, I think Mahesh has another question. He says, um, "Is the Hugging Face kind of open source model, and how secure or ready to use it is as of now?"
Right. Always OpenAI model, it has been trained with some other data, so it is not like it is going to use our own data to make itself train or to make it uh, they are not using our data for the training purpose. So it is always 100% safe for our for our data. It is none of the OpenAI model is using our data to train itself. So it's
Mhm.
obviously it's going to be safe. Either it might be the Hugging Face or any of the Azure OpenAI model. None of the OpenAI model is using our own data to train itself.
Mhm. Okay. So
And
is
one
it
more thing
ready
I
to
would like
use
to
the
add on
Hugging Face?
here. Sorry, Kamal.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So one more thing, what I would like to add on here to make it really make it really understand how it is, how our data is safe. None of the OpenAI model is having memory inside it until unless we tell them to store the previous chat or
Mhm.
previous sessions chat, until unless it is not having any memory capacity to remember.
Indeed, I
It is
know.
just fetch the data, throw the output,
Hmm.
nothing other than that.
Okay. So in that case, how is this Hugging Face? Is it ready for use, or is it still in some
Yes,
preview mode?
it's ready. It's ready to use everything. It is having a bulk of OpenAI models. Even the recent GPT-4o is available in Hugging Face.
Okay. All right. And I think we have another small question which says like, do we have the links to these models somewhere where I can have really a look into all the models available? If you have a link, you can just put it in the comment section so that we can share it with the audience. In the meantime, thank you so much for the audience for these awesome questions, and looking forward to it. And Dr. Booma, thank you so much for your awesome session on Gen AI, giving us a deep dive. In fact, a literally one layer beneath as to what is really happening when you choose models and which one to choose, the ambiguity, the confusion, the limitations, the criterias, and made it very easy as to how can we go ahead with the models and what are the different types of models. So thank you so much for being on Copilot Chronicles, and thank you, Parth, for being a great host. And as always, we're looking forward for the next session. We will reach back to you with more details. Thank you so much for joining. Have a nice evening.
Yeah. Thank you, Kamal, and thank you, Pat, for making this session successful. Thank you all.